All businesses aren't created equal. What may be normal for a small company could be strange for a large one. But when deciding where to work, those distinctions matter. The difference between a small business and a big business may be obvious: size. But look beyond the surface and there are plenty of other differences separating the two. Today we will check out small business versus big business. Before starting the video, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so you'll get notified when we upload the next video. 14. Getting the job. Even getting hired at a small business is different. According to Anita Campbell, Chief Executive of Small Business Trends, chances are landing a job at a small business is going to be a much quicker process. In large companies, it's not unusual to go through 5, 6, even 10 interviews before you are actually given a job, she says. 13. The bigger, the more bureaucratic. Everyone knows that when you work for a large company, there are more hoops you have to jump through to get anything done. Small businesses, on the other hand, tend to have less bureaucracy, less organisation, and less complexity, says Kim Rule, Vice President and Managing Principal at Korn Ferry International. In a small business, it's simpler to navigate the organisational maze to know who makes a difference, says Rule. 12. It's a family affair. If you work in a large company, it's likely you'll only get to know the people you work with day in and day out. At a small company, you'll probably know everyone from the receptionist all the way up to the boss. There's going to be more personal relationships, says Campbell. If you get along, then it may feel like a family. But on the other hand, if you don't get along, you don't have the distance of a big company. 11. You get to wear more hats. Working for a small business can give you much wider exposure to job functions because everyone tends to wear more than one hat. For instance, a comptroller in a small company may have his or her hands in budgets, forecasting, and creating financial statements, while in a large company, he or she may only be responsible for preparing financial statements, says Downs. 10. Better working conditions. Small businesses typically have less rules and thus more flexibility in the work-life balance they offer. They know they can't provide the same benefits that a large corporation can, so oftentimes they will go out of their way to make the working conditions really good, says Campbell. 9. More specialisation at large firms. At a large company, you'll get the chance to specialise and more fully develop a specific expertise or job function. If you want a career in the tax side of accounting, that can be great, but according to Reel, it may be less appealing to the person that's seeking a broader perspective of the business. 8. Opportunities abound at big companies. Most of the time at large companies, there's more opportunities to grow. After all, large companies typically have a structure in place to move up the career ladder. That doesn't mean you'll be stuck in a dead-end job at a small firm. According to Reel, many companies start out small only to grow into huge enterprises. 7. Exacting change. Many people go into a career not only to make money, but to make a difference. Chances are much higher that you can affect change at a small firm. A publicly traded company has documented processes and procedures for doing everything, says Downs. At a small business, things can change on a dime, she says. 6. Mission is more than a bottom line. Every business is created to make money, but at a small company, it's not only about pleasing shareholders. According to Phil Marso-Cediro of management consulting company Marso-Cediro & Company, at small companies, the owners can have multiple goals. A small business may have other priorities, like the environmental benefits or other social benefits, says Marso-Cediro. 5. More job security. When you get a job at a small company, oftentimes you are considered part of the family, so letting you go may not be as easy. It can be painstaking for the small business owner, says Downs. Sometimes at larger companies there will be a mandate from someone at the top that cuts will be this deep and they don't know the people personally. 4. Small businesses are the economy's job engine, right? Wrong. Ever since MIT researcher David Birch wrote in the late 1970s that small businesses create the lion's share of new jobs in the economy, this assertion has taken on mythic proportions. President Barack Obama's 2013's budget summed up the view: small businesses are the engine of job growth in our economy. At the same time, we are fed a steady diet of stories about how large corporations, run by rapacious CEOs with nicknames like Chainsaw Al Dunlap and Neutron Jack Welch, ruthlessly slash jobs to pad their profits and bonuses. It is true that small firms create a lot of jobs, but they also destroy almost as many, because they are much more likely than big firms to go out of business or shrink. This is why from 1993 to 2010, small firms with fewer than 20 employees were responsible for 29% of gross job creation, but only 15% of net job gains. In contrast, firms with more than 500 employees were responsible for 26% of gross job gains, but 38% of net job gains. This is also why almost 2/3 of new jobs since 1990 have been in firms with 500 or more employees, even though those firms employed just 42% of workers. And regarding Chainsaw Al, as of 2015, really big establishments, those with 5,000 or more employees, were 4 times less likely to lay off workers than those with fewer than 250 employees. 3. Small businesses are innovative dynamos, aren't they? Small firms are nimble, hungry, and innovative. Large corporate giants are sluggish, risk-averse copiers. Or so goes the conventional wisdom. The entrepreneur Sam Hogg sums up this view when he writes, "Startups require innovative entrepreneurs, and that typically isn't in a job description for a large company. But in fact, large firms, on average, are more innovative than small firms." Boeing, not a small company, developed the world's first carbon fiber jet aircraft, the 787. Apple developed the first smartphone decades after it was a Silicon Valley startup. In fact, the top 1.5% of patenting firms, all of them large, received 48% of US patents issued from 1999 to 2008. Only a tiny fraction of the nation's 6 million small firms patent or innovate. This is why small firms account for just 16% of business spending on R&D, while the largest firms, those with more than 25,000 workers, account for 36%. Big firms also are more efficient at translating research and development into innovation. As economists Cohen and Kepler write, by applying the fruits of their R&D over a larger level of output, larger firms not only have a greater incentive to undertake R&D than smaller firms, but they also realize a greater return from their R&D than smaller firms. Likewise, business professors Anne-Marie Knott and Carl Vireger find that the larger the firm, the bigger the bang for the R&D buck it gets. 2. Size doesn't matter when it comes to business efficiency, does it? Critics of big business have long argued that these firms are no more efficient than small firms. Barry Lin, director of the Open Markets Institute, dismisses arguments and data about the superior efficiency of larger firms as metaphysics. Open Markets fellow Matt Stoller goes even further, asserting a nefarious plot to defend business size, when he tweets, "I'm increasingly convinced the biggest con in business history is the notion of economics of scale." For these critics, the only way firms get big is by manipulating markets and crushing erstwhile competitors, all while being enabled by a captured government. For Nell Abernathy and co-workers from the Roosevelt Institute, firm size is a product of distinct political and policy choices. In fact, if there is an economic finding more solid than the fact that in many industries firms gain economies of scale as they get bigger, then it's hard to imagine what it might be. Economists and consultants have long studied the benefits of scale. In one of the earliest studies on this, Perspectives on Experience, the Boston Consulting Group found that costs appear to go down on value added at about 20 to 30% every time product experience doubles. Another study found that most plant and firm acquisitions increase productivity, concluding, "The market for corporate assets facilitates the redeployment of assets from firms with a lower ability to exploit them to firms with higher ability." This is why US government data show that, controlling for industry and the amount of capital employed, large firms are 16.6% more productive than smaller firms. This higher productivity is why in 2015, workers employed by large firms earned on average 54% more than workers in companies with fewer than 100 workers. 1. Big business has monopolized the US economy, hasn't it? Given that a few high-profile mergers in the last decade, many claim that the economy is now dominated by oligopolies, industries controlled by a few behemoths, to the detriment of workers and consumers. Senator Elizabeth Warren, DMA, paints a near-apocalyptic picture. Today in America, competition is dying. Consolidation and concentration are on the rise in sector after sector. Barry Lin and Philip Longman write that the degree of consolidation in many industries today bears a striking resemblance to that of the late Gilded Age. In nearly every sector of our economy, far fewer firms control far greater shares of their markets than they did a generation ago. Do let us know in the comments below which type of business you own or you are working in. Thanks for watching.